There was unfortunately a, mass shooting that took place in the northern Chicago area of Highland Park. For people that don't know, Highland Park, Illinois is like a suburb. It's like it's literally not like it's not Chicago. It's like the difference between Skid Row and Bel Air. You know what I mean? And even further apart. But yeah, there it is. The Google fireworks on their 4th of July parade. It is a predominantly white, I think like Jewish suburb of Chicago. It's the rich white area so far north. I've never been there, and I live in North Chicago. Yeah, it's just like it's an entirely different planet. It's 30 miles outside of like actual Chicago. It's where Ferris Bueller was filmed. I think it's like where the Home Alone home is. It's not. It's just not. It's an exurb. Okay, well, regardless of what it is, a mass shooting happened at a fucking parade there. There's video footage, and I'm not going to show you. Obviously, there's like photos of like dead bodies, and unsurprisingly, this might come as a surprise to some of you if you're unaware of how cops operate in this fucking country. The suspect, from what I understand, is still at large.
I'd like to go to Miles Zaremski, who was at the parade and heard these gunshots in Highland Park. He is joining us now on the phone from this Chicago suburb. And Miles, I'd like to talk to you. What can you just tell us happened? What did you see or hear?
Sure, Caitlin. It was a nice day in Highland Park weather-wise, so I decided to take a walk to the parade. And I was about a half a block or so from the scene of the carnage, what turned out to be the scene of the carnage, which was Central Avenue, which is the main street in Highland Park. And the cross street was Second Avenue, Second Street.
What the fuck was that?
Anyways, at first I heard a pop, and I thought maybe it was a backfire from one of the vehicles that had passed already, fire truck or police car or whatever. And then I thought maybe it was a firecracker, and then there were multiple pops. And having been in the service many decades ago, it was not a handgun or a rifle or something. It was more like an AR-15 or whatever. And I'd say I heard maybe, and I'm guessing, about 30 pops. And there was a pause in between a set of pops and then a second set of pops. And then the crowd that was on either side of Central started rushing a stampede like going west, which was against me. I was not knocked down. And then I gingerly went up and I saw blood on the sidewalk. I saw a bloody body that looked deceased. I even saw what it looked to be a young child, a boy, being cuddled by his parents. And I just...
Bro, this is fucking insane. Is this real? America is so fucked up that we actually now have like shooting warnings on Google Maps. Bro, this is literally like a traffic jam. Like we got fucking shooting warnings happening. Like it's like, hey, avoid this area. Yet another fucking mass shooting happening here.
In southwest LaSalle County. This is happening.
That's crazy. Live special coverage by NBC. No, this is a tornado warning. This is not a shooting warning. Suspect is a white male, 18, 20-year-old, according to the reports, which probably explains why the cops didn't shoot him. Man, that's not the... No, dude, that's not the only reason why the cops didn't shoot him. The cops didn't shoot him because they're fucking afraid, okay? And I don't know the exact details of what happened, so I'm not going to make speculation, okay? I don't even know if that's the real reason. I told you there were an app to reroute people from active shootings, and a tasteless joke I made where I called it the active shoot door. Yeah, bro, I don't know if I should go out. This is wonderful to see this alongside what I just showed you, because it's literally, it's literally like, you know, gotta check. Hey guys, don't know if I should go out today. It seems like there's a mass shooting that I should probably avoid. You know, in the downtown fucking suburb of Highland Park. I guess I should avoid that area today. It's like, hey, should I bring an umbrella with me or should I use the Kevlar vest today? That's America. Okay? That's fucking America, baby. That's just how it is now. We are living in the worst timeline. Might need a trigger warning. Georgia is fucking crazy. A road rage incident caught on camera in Woodstock where a driver ended up firing 14 shots in a car next to him. Holy shit, dude. I wonder why it's happening everywhere. Police on scene did not give chase. Yeah. Google Assistant is currently rerouting. Do not take the next left due to heightened gun activity. It's just like, I understand why the police, by the way, are fucking terrified of a dude with an AR-15 for the record. Who wouldn't be? That's precisely
Alex,
why
in
the
fact,
fucking
just
main
to add to
point.
that, just before you came to me, 2 uniformed ATF.
That's why you do it. That's why we need gun laws, man. It's understandably be fucking terrified of a person with an AR-15. I'm not even faulting the goddamn cops for that. Okay? It's understandable. These motherfuckers are literally also, these motherfuckers run around and like unloading the people though. That's the problem. I fault them for that. I fault them for acting like little heroes when they don't have any, they don't have a heroic bone in their fucking body.
Of the manufacturing and distribution chain and got into the hands of its first owner. And then after that, they will try to determine if it was ever resold or possibly who might have been in possession of that rifle. And so again, that happens very fast when they have a mass shooting, even though it's a rather archaic system, which we've shown you on the air. It's literally a paper system that they use to trace those weapons. I want you to see something over here. Look here. I spoke to you earlier about a moment frozen in time. Here's where children were watching this parade, this little butterfly chair. I want to show you how close that child was to the shooting. Look over my shoulder here, go down the street, you'll see a stop sign there with flashing red lights. That's 2nd Street. That's where people were starting to fall. Right there, across the street. And if
Good take, Lauren. There was a mass shooting in Denmark, country with some of the...
You'll see the building there at the corner of 2nd and Central, and that is where they believe the gunman was shooting from the roof. We talked to Dr. David Baum on the air in the last hour, and he told you about tending to the casualties out there. And as he talked to me after our interview, he said it was his impression that the gunman was not directly up over the street, but possibly back on that building, more on 2nd Street, maybe a little bit north of Central, firing down. He said he had an unparalleled viewpoint of the corner where the majority of the casualties fell. Now, to amplify what Paul said on the air just a moment ago, and he mentioned the tornado warning for LaSalle County. No such severe weather up here in Highland Park, but it is starting to rain, and you see all of those evidence technicians up there working, and that's what they're doing up there behind us. They are scouring the scene, looking for clues. And they're doing that because, among other things, they need the evidence and they need it fast, but they don't want anything to get washed away. Alex?
Thank you, Phil. And we've heard
Bro,
from so many
fucking
witnesses over the course of
local
today,
news
and our
coverage.
whole news team there on the scene in Highland Park trying to speak to as many people as they can. We've heard
Local news coverage
so many
is so
different accounts,
crazy.
including a woman who was right near that cosmetics store across the street at Uncle Dan's, which is the outerwear store, excuse me, that was next door. She hid around that area and then to the Pancake House near store. She talking.
Here, we're gonna get to the details of this real quick. Actually, let's just cover the details before we move on. I just want to.
And it was sickening. It was just chaotic. And I'm not going to get into the politics of gun control, but if it can happen in a suburb like Highland Park, which is loving and peaceful, and a Chicago suburb, not only can it happen in churches and synagogues and schools, but it can happen in any community. It was just sickening, Caitlin, and that's the best word I can describe. To see these people in
loving in white
ground,
neighborhood, bro. That's
moving.
it.
Others were injured. How many were deceased? I don't know at this point. So
Can you get a guesstimate, Miles, of how many? What was the police presence like on the scene? Given obviously this is a 4th of July parade.
Boy,
how many?
I gotta tell you, not only were police vehicles that typically.
I hate to do this, but I'm telling you right now. Here's what's gonna happen. Republicans are going to start saying, like, this was Chicago gun violence, but I guess they know that the shooter is white early on. So instead of saying Chicago gun violence, they will quickly turn this to, oh, you want to fucking ban guns in Chicago? Guns are banned in Chicago. What about black on black violence 30 miles of the fucking South? Nobody talks about that shit. It's like, bro, you're not talking about that shit. The only time you talk about black on black violence or whatever, or violence in fucking South Side, is specifically as a cudgel against like making progress towards gun legislation and gun control. So just get ready for that incredible fucking moment where these disgusting freaks are going to say over and over again, this is a white neighborhood, this is a white neighborhood, this is a white neighborhood, can't believe it happened, can't believe it happened here, can't believe it happened here. What about black on black violence? No one cares about that. And also, gun laws don't work, gun bans don't work. It happened in Chicago. Illinois has some strict gun laws, especially Chicago has some fucking strict gun laws. Okay? And the reality is that this kind of mass shooting incident and also shootings that occur regularly in Southside Chicago, okay, are still inextricably tied to one another. Of course they're tied to one another because of the mass availability of guns in the streets of the United States of America, specifically from neighboring fucking states where you can easily funnel in, legally acquire weapons and easily funnel in to Illinois and to Chicago. So that's number one. And number two, the material conditions are a factor here. Obviously, the type of gun violence and the violent crime that occurs in Southside Chicago is a consequence of the horrifying realities that black people are presented with, okay? The incredible inequality that they have to exist under. Like crime and socioeconomic conditions are tied to one another. And we've known about this since the beginning of fucking time. Like in ancient Greece, people were talking about the likelihood of crime as a consequence of socioeconomic conditions, okay? These things predate dialectical materialism, historical materialism. Well, technically, it doesn't predate historical materialism. So it is wild that we cannot have a conversation about this and refuse to have one about this. But if that's the one that people want to, if that's what people want to talk about with respect to what's going on, you absolutely fucking have to mention this, okay? Point out that the registry is on paper because the NRA passed a law saying they can't use computers to trace firearms. There's so much. There's so much. Dude, why are you sending the video of the shooting, yo? Video of the shooting just in terms of service violation. Okay, well then why the fuck would I watch that on stream? And yes, for those who are wondering, the shooter, as far as we know, is still active.
We always lead off the parade with fire trucks. It's part of the 4th of July parade in Highland Park. But after it occurred, there were police there within moments, if not actually there. And there was also...
Not active. At large. Did I say active? At large. The shooter is still He left the gun. They picked up his gun. They know what gun he used. But also, they have not caught the shooter. From what I understand, they could not actually, they didn't give chase to him.
So
They have a report out about what he looks like. They're saying he's a white male, slim build, 18 to 20, with long black hair.
Vehicles that were part of the parade too. So I'd say within moments, within no more than 60 seconds, 90 seconds, and then we had police not only from Highland Park, but the county in which we live, Lake County. They were sheriff's police with their AR rifles drawn because it was an active shooter scene. So it was pretty prompt. But just to hear the pop, 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 and I was told that maybe it came from the roof of one of the businesses at the corner of Central and Second. It was going down as opposed to street level. So.
And Miles, how long had the parade been going on before you first heard these pops?
The occurrence took place around 10:20 in the morning local time, and the parade typically kicks off at 10 a.m. or a few minutes after 10 a.m. What is very fortunate is that before the actual parade, I think there's a dog pet parade with the kids and their parents that go at 9:30. So if that gunman had been there earlier, there would have been mass carnage of young children.
The bike and pet parade that happened at about 9:30. And when you were there and you immediately heard these pops, you said you could identify that it was a gun. Did it take a minute for other people to understand what was happening, given, it's a parade, there's a lot of people around?
I would say it took 15 to 20 seconds because I suspect people saw people that were bloodied. And so there was a mass.
Yeah, and people didn't understand it at first. There were people sitting down. I watched the fucking videos this morning when I first woke up. There were people sitting down thinking that it's just like fireworks or whatever. They were just like sitting around. There's another part of it that like is interesting to talk about as well. There's like a young kid who was at the fucking parade, and he literally was like excited that he caught it on camera. He was in shock most likely, but that's for a different day. That's a story for a different day of like how brain broken we are living on the internet. Like, we are not all right at how brain broken we are about being on the internet and how brain broken we are about gun violence. That a little kid is like basically excited that he like caught it on camera. Like while the shooting was happening.
Exodus from the site, and some people I'm told were hiding under cars or in the parking lot down the road. So yeah, I've never seen this, and I would hope no American would ever see this. Unfortunately, we've seen it all too often.
And Miles, where did you go when you started hearing these pops, these gunshots?
Having a first aid, some training, I thought maybe I could help, but then they said, no, please.
So no one stopped this guy with a CCW or open carry, really hundreds of people, and no one stopped him? Wow. No, it's in Illinois, and I think you know that it's not as easy to fucking have a concealed carry permit there in comparison to other places. But you know who has a concealed carry permit? The police. And they were there. Like, plenty of cops. Hundreds of fucking cops were at the parade. And he shot from a fucking rooftop. Cops were in the parade, around the parade. Yeah. And, people did have guns there. So remember, that argument doesn't fucking stand here. Because while good guys with a gun often lead to dangerous situations, cops are supposed to be the ultimate good guys with guns.
Please move away. We're cordoning off the area. So I kind of slowly walked away and then walked home.
And do you live nearby where the parade route is?
But I did make first-person observation of some of the carnage, and it was gut-wrenching.
How many injuries did you say you saw, Miles?
Oh, I'm going to guess I saw 12 to 24 injuries, and that's purely a guess. And I saw a couple of...
As far as we know, currently the numbers stand with 6 dead and 24 plus injured.
Lifeless bodies on the ground. So, but that's a first-person observation. And there may be more.
And Miles, were these mainly children,
6
families?
dead, 31 injured is the newest
kind of
number.
People
okay.
were you standing nearby this parade?
It was a variety of people that attend the July 4th parade in Highland Park, from little kids with their parents to older people just out for the morning, with a lot of pets. It is a delightful, patriotic, democratic thing to do on July 4th. So it was people of all walks of life.
And Miles, what does the area look like? Sorry, Miles, to interrupt. What does the area look like nearby? Because you said you thought that maybe this was coming from a roof. Are there high buildings nearby? What does it look like in the dump?
High buildings. The building structures in downtown Highland
I gotta
Park
pee. I'll
are
be
maybe
back.
1 story, at most 2 stories high. And on the corner, I believe the commercial property is only 1 story high. So they're not, it's a suburban area that doesn't have at all tall buildings.
So no tall buildings nearby. I mean, we can see we're seeing downtown as this police presence is obviously blocked everything off. They've canceled other events.
Oh, absolutely. And other events, I'm told, in adjoining suburbs were canceled as well. This is absolutely disgusting.
And how long have you lived in the area, Miles?
We moved here after I got out of law school in Highwood in 1973, and then moved into Highland Park, which is an adjoining neighborhood, suburb just south of Highwood, in 1985. So we've been here about 37 years, something like that. Hello?
Miles, one other question. We're hearing from the governor now, who is saying that they are hearing, Governor Pritzker, that 9 people have been reportedly shot at this parade. Do you think you were standing, how close were you to the people who were injured, or did you have to walk away a little bit to see?
I was within feet of people that were injured, and maybe within 10 feet of 2 people that I observed lifeless on the ground in a pool of blood.
You saw about 10 people, you said, Miles?
The person talking doesn't have all the details. This is when they're trying to piece through what happened by talking to the people on the ground. This was one of the survivors, okay?
Well, I probably observed multiple people who had blood on their body from either an injury, and at least a couple of people that were lifeless on the ground in a pool of blood.
And were there ambulances on the scene already, or was it mostly just law enforcement?
Actually, there were probably a couple on the scene, but then ambulances coming to and fro.
And Miles, did you hear a concern from authorities who were there about the fact that they had not located this shooter yet?
I had heard from somebody or a couple people, including one police officer. I said, "Is this still an active shooter scene?" He says, "Yes, get out of here."
No, it's no longer active, but the shooter is at large as far as they know.
That was about 20 minutes after it occurred.
And how many years have you been going to this parade, Miles?
Going to be hard to blame doors? Yes, which is precisely why they're not going to fucking blame doors. They're going to misdirect by talking about the other parade where someone drove with a car into a predominantly white neighborhood, but the person who drove, I think the person who drove the car, was the person who drove the car like white or something? Or was he black? I can't remember. But even better if he's black from the point of view of like the Republicans trying to cut fucking propaganda out of this and basically say, oh, look at that. Like, you guys didn't care when a black person purposefully, out of a pure spite for white people, rode into a fucking crowd of people celebrating in a white neighborhood and you didn't care about it and you didn't cover it, which is bullshit. Of course, everybody covered it. Yeah, Waukesha last year. Waukesha, however you say it. And they're going to say that, car control didn't come after that. So why would there be gun control after this? You're purely political, yada, yada, yada. It's just so sad. It's a sad state of affairs, but that is how it is. You know what I mean? Like, we already fucking know.
Mile flight restriction due to that. You talked about Chicago police had their helicopter.
I mean, you want to see how fucked up we are as a country, dude? I mean, I already showed you this. America's so fucked up. We got Google Maps, mass shooting alerts. But also, you want to see how fucked up we are? This is what, in the immediate aftermath of a fucking mass shooting, a deadly mass shooting, while the shooter is still at large. This is what here is the Illinois state senator and Trump-endorsed candidate for governor, Dan Bailey, releasing a fucking campaign video, dude. The shooter is still at large, motherfucker. He goes, let's hear what he has to say. Let's hear what wonderful things this dumbass had to say while the shooter, remember, is still at large.
Away from here in Highland Park, there was a shooting. There were several people that we know have been shot. That's all we know.
Sorry for the popping. It's just like really shitty audio, I know.
And we're just going to take a moment and pray for the families. Friends, let's pray for the law enforcement and even the organizers of this parade. They've done an amazing job. There's a lot of confusion and frustration that the parade's being canceled, but they did the right thing because people's safety has...
Bro, at what point are you going to realize, like, either A, God is dead, or B, he's a piece of shit, and your prayers ain't reaching him, motherfucker? What do you mean? Let's pray through it. Let's pray through it, folks. Yeah, let's do it, man. Let's fucking do it. Yeah, let's pray a little harder, I guess.
The parade's being canceled, but they did the right thing because people's safety has got to come first. The shooter is still at large, so let's pray for justice to prevail.
I don't understand, like, why do you have an accent like that if you're in Illinois?
And then let's move on and let's celebrate the independence of this nation.
Motherfucker said, let's move on and celebrate the independence of this nation. Come on, don't think about it. 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 Let's just move on. Motherfucker said, let's move on, bro. Darren Bailey's from Southern Illinois where the Bible Belt begins. Yeah, it's like, move on. Bro, the shooter is still loose. The fuck do you mean move on? Move on maybe to a different country, I guess. If you want to avoid shit like this. That's where you should move on to. Bro, this is literally like fucking, I don't know what the timing of this is, but it is entirely too close to the active shooting. Like, the shooting happened like, what, 3 hours ago? And this video is not from right now. Even if it was like literally cut right now, it would be entirely too soon. This is like an hour after the shooting. You understand? Like literally 1 hour. And the shooter is still fucking at large.
We know the mission. We have got to get corruption and evil out of our government, and we have got to elect men and women of honor and of courage to get this country and this state back on track. So right now, if you would, join me in prayer for the families affected and for the law enforcement as they do their jobs. And it's been a
yeah. Pray. That's another good one. Pray that the law enforcement do their job, right? Because, like, you didn't pray hard enough. That's why the cops couldn't fucking apprehend the shooter. That's why the cops couldn't actually, like, stop the shooting from happening. Because we didn't pray hard enough. It's on us, boys. Boys, girls, you got to fucking pray to God. You got to pray to God that the cops do their jobs. I mean, obviously, like, giving them more money is not helpful. Giving them more money hasn't worked. But maybe if you pray to fucking God a little bit harder, you can get the cops. You can have some momentum on this cop thing, potentially. That's crazy.
A tough weekend in Chicago. So, Father God in heaven, I thank you so much for this beautiful, free country that we call home.
Thanks, man. Republicans say pray harder, Democrats vote harder. Yeah, neither of it works to fucking solve anything. You know what I mean? Neither of it works. Neither voting harder nor praying harder has been able to fucking work. Great. Here's what the Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker said on the mass shooting. We must and we will end this plague of gun violence. There are no words for the kind of monster who lies in wait and fires into a crowd of families with children celebrating a holiday with their community. I mean, that's what he said. Yeah, thoughts and prayers doesn't work on that. Yeah, guys, come on. I'm not going to do a segue here on the top of the hour. Like, we're in the middle of a serious story. Yes, I'm going to run the ad. If you don't want to see the ad, you can subscribe for $5 or for free. You can also get gifted a sub if you're lucky. I'm not doing a segue right now. I don't want to be cheeky about this, okay? Read the room a little bit, boys. Come on. I know we like to lighten the load whenever we're covering the news, but like sometimes it's a little bit too fucking aggressive. Thank you, SLMZ, Slim Z, for the 521 gift subs. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. On the alt-right forums, they're already talking about how much more deaths happened in Chicago this weekend. That's their deflect. I don't want to say more disgusting anti-Semitic shit they're saying. Yeah. And by the way, the sad part about this is that when you cover the alt-right, when you cover like, 4chan and whatever the fuck they're saying there, that's going to be sanitized and manicured a little bit, but that's going to make its way into Fox News. That's going to make its way into the talking points of senators. That's going to make its way into talking points of the, Illinois GOP. Watch the right-wing media try to turn the Highland Park massacre into a story about black people in Chicago rather than a story about gun massacres in 90% suburbs 30 miles north of Chicago. From what I'm reading, Highland Park also has a large Jewish population, so keep that in mind. They're comparing a fucking suburb parade to a man-made war zone for poor people. Yeah. 614 Brandon Moore, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Yeah, 4chan at this point is like a fucking grassroots think tank for some of the most insane psychos. Right-wing shit is created in 4chan, refined in Reddit, and then pumped out to Facebook and then aired on Fox. Yeah. The idea that flooding a country with hundreds of millions of virtually unregulated firearms enhances freedom is a preposterous at this level that is hard to describe. I suspect the government's total inability to do anything serious about this has badly sapped its legitimacy. The other part of it is that, like, not only will they turn this on to, what about black on black violence, which no one cares about? What about black on black violence, which no one cares about? Right? That's happening all the time. They will also there's worse versions of that, which are also becoming more normalized, which is like, oh, did a shooting happen? Must be the feds. Did a shooting happen? Must be the feds. Now there is federal involvement. In some of these circumstances, right? And there's a lack of action from the feds, if you want to talk about that. Some of that is incompetence. Some of that might be like conspiratorial. But ultimately, considering that a country where these kinds of mass shootings happen so fucking frequently, the idea that like, oh man, it must be the feds. Are you fucking crazy, dude? It's the feds every time? Man, they sure got their hands busy doing mass shootings fucking twice a day. You know what I mean? What are they doing? You think they... I don't even think they have the budget for that. Like, we arm these motherfuckers so hard. We give them so much. We give them so much money. But even then, I don't think that the feds have the capacity to potentially fucking do this many mass shootings. And to what fucking end? Perhaps your issue is guns. And perhaps you have been so brain broken and so preconditioned into just refusing to recognize the clear disparity in gun violence in a country like the United States of America versus other countries where there are less weapons on the street, where there are other countries where even if there are less weapons on the street, there's like significantly more regulation in acquiring a weapon. In countries like that, they just have less gun violence. God damn. Isn't it suggested the Fed shoot people so they can tuck their guns away so that they can, what, oppress you more than taking away the guns would just lead you to rebelling and using them against the government? I don't know, man. It doesn't even make sense. No, it doesn't have to make sense. It's because these people have fucking lost the plot. That's what happens because mass shootings are so fucking commonplace. They're so regular that after the 11th fucking gigantic catastrophe, you're going to run out of options. If you refuse to recognize what the real problem is, you're going to look for crazier and crazier shit. We talked about this during Uvalde. You are going to keep looking desperately to confirm your biases. And you've run out of options. You can't say it's a good guy with a gun because there's plenty of good guys, cops. You can't say we need to train the cops more. We need to give them more training. Cops are hella fucking trained. They're kitted out. We need to give them bigger guns, better guns. It's like, what do you want? You want them to have Bayraktars, dude? You know? They already the most fucking well-equipped military force. They're there and they still can't do shit. You already said thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers only works, for the first 1,000 mass shootings. You know what I mean? None of that's working. So you have to find new reasons. You have to find new ways. You have to come up with new ways of covering this issue. Okay? And that will get increasingly psychotic. That will become increasingly insane. It's out of sheer desperation and blind fealty to your ownership of weapons. That is a profoundly important part of your identity in America because you have nothing else to fucking live off of, nothing else that unites you. That you decide we got to find another justification for it. And if you've already exhausted all the prior justifications in the thousands of other mass shootings that occurred, you can't even talk about door control in this one. So now you got to talk about roof control.
Other coverage from our partner WBB. I'm Lana Zach. And again, at this point, what we know, at least 6 people are dead, dozens wounded, and the gunman is still on the loose. This is CBS News, always on.
Oh, great, man. That's great stuff, by the way. Like, love that our fucking incredibly fucking well-equipped police force was not able to just straight up wasn't able to apprehend the shooter. Wasn't able to catch the shooter, and the shooter is still at large. Man, they just need Bayraktars, bro. This time, bro. I swear, bro. Please, bro. Just a couple more billion, bro. I promise, bro. It's gonna work this time. Here's the statement from President Biden, by the way, on this. Jill and I are shocked by the senseless gun violence that has yet again brought grief to an American community. At this point, it's like everyone's playing the greatest hits. It again brought grief to an American community on Independence Day. As always, we are grateful for the first responders and law enforcement on scene. I've spoken to Governor Pritzker and Mayor Rotering, and I have offered the full support of the federal government to their communities. I also surged federal law enforcement to assist in the urgent search for the shooter, who remains at large at this time. Members of the community should follow guidance from leadership on the ground, and I will monitor closely as we learn more about those whose lives have been lost and pray for those who are in the hospital with grievous injuries. I recently signed the first major bipartisan gun legislation in almost 30 years in the law, which includes actions that will save lives, but there's much more work to do, and I'm not going to give up fighting the epidemic of gun violence. It's the epidemic. I'm going to be honest, dude. I'm going to be honest. It's not that hard. It really is not that hard to be, a writer for the president at this point, or a writer for a politician. Nice take from the NRA. The only reason you're celebrating Independence Day is because citizens were armed. Hashtag 4th of July. But yeah, like I said, it's not that hard to be a fucking writer for a president or a politician at this point. All you got to do is copy paste, dude. We're never solving any of these issues. You know what I'm saying? We're never solving any of these issues. Here you go, by the way. Families of the 4th of July parade in Highland Park. I'm going to show you some non-terms of service violating videos to understand. Here. This is what this fucking piece of shit shot at, okay? 6 people are dead so far. Wait, fuck. What the fuck was that? Why did that happen?
6 people are dead and 24 others have been transferred to the hospital after a mass shooting at a July 4th parade.
Wait, hold
At
on.
least-
Sorry, I just got to scroll real quick to make sure that there's no tears. Okay, here.
24 others.
So many kids, man. So many fucking kids. Just the reality of living in America, dude. Oh, by the way, that same guy, Darren Bailey, that we were talking about, who said, like, let's move on. Let's move on, and, like, enjoy the day. Here he is, raffling fucking guns to raise money for his campaign for governor. Okay? How fucked up is America? 2A fundraiser raffle. I mean, this is from 2020. This is like old. He's not doing it right now. But understand that, like, this attitude plays a role, okay? This attitude plays a fucking role in why we cannot tackle gun violence in this fucking country. Do you understand? You got motherfuckers running for governor doing Second Amendment fundraisers, brother. How in the living fuck is this legal, bro? Dude. So what's next? Assault pack loot boxes, pay $50 to get a chance at a grenade and ARs? Bro, the NRA literally had a banned guns giveaway in the aftermath of Uvalde, where the actual literal gun that the Uvalde shooter used was up for fucking a raffle. Not like the actual gun, but the exact same replica of the gun. It was a Daniel Defense gun. I've said this before. Are you guys not here when this shit happens? They had a fucking school shooter starting pack. They were giving it away. They were giving one away at the NRA literally 3 days after Uvalde with 1,000 rounds of ammo. Apparently, the kids were calming down the adults because the kids have active shooter drills at school. Yeah, I mean, look. This is the fucking country. We already knew mass shootings were great for the gun industry, but this mass shooting starter kit is next level deranged, basically making SpawnCon off the latest atrocity. Currently promoting the specific gun model used to murder 19 kids and 2 teachers at Uvalde as a part of the banned guns giveaway, along with 1,000 rounds of ammo. This is real. This happened 3 days after Uvalde. This is what the NRA was doing. Why the fuck do you guys think that this is that different? Darren Bailey, who's running for governor currently, back in 2020, is literally raffling off a fucking tactical attack R122 rifle. Currently raffling a Trump 45 cal. Wait, he's still raffling a fucking gun right now? Oh, he is. Oh, he has a Trump 45 caliber pistol raffle. Nice. That's cool. As I said, I ran through the Highland Park parade route 45 minutes before the shooting. There were police with guns and body armor, as is now standard, everywhere handling traffic, helping to set up. Good guys with guns every 6 feet. Dude, why would I look at iShow speed right now, man?